Welcome to Listen2Riches. Today we are going to discuss a book called Principles by Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater Associates. In this book, Dalio elaborates on his personal principles for success and principles for running a company. While Principles has caused quite a sensation in the financial investment world outside of the finance realm, Ray Dalio is not as widely recognized as figures like Warren Buffett and George Soros. So, who is Ray Dalio exactly? Before we delve into the discussion, let me first introduce him and the hedge fund he created, Bridgewater Associates. Bridgewater is the world's largest hedge fund with assets under management currently totaling $160 billion. From its inception in 1975 to the end of 2017, Dalio generated $49.2 billion in profits for his clients, surpassing George Soros's quantum fund by $6 billion. Particularly following the global financial crisis in 2008 when hedge funds saw dismal returns, Bridgewater continued to deliver double-digit, stable returns. This earned Ray Dalio widespread recognition on Wall Street, and his visionary ideas and deep insights set him apart from the ordinary. In 1995, when China's per capita GDP had just surpassed that of India, Dalio saw potential in China and believed that the 21st century's opportunities lay there. At the time, this perspective was uncommon on Wall Street. However, Dalio not only had this vision but also put it into action. He established connections with the Chinese market and even sent his son to Beijing for primary school. Individuals with such foresight often pique our curiosity, and we wonder why they think this way, why they act as they do, and how they achieve such remarkable success. Dalio's answer can be summed up in two words: principles. He has a set of principles that he follows, whether in his personal life or in his work. Later, he documented these principles, creating a handbook for Bridgewater employees. This booklet then spread, with many managers and investment professionals at large companies eager to read it. Starting in 2010, Dalio made these principles available on Bridgewater's official website, and they were downloaded over 3 million times. In 2017, Dalio personally revised and expanded the booklet, resulting in the formal publication of the book Principles. The book contains around 400,000 words, with Dalio's autobiography in the beginning and his principles in the latter part, consisting of 21 high-level principles, 139 mid-level principles, and 365 sub-principles. Next, I will provide an interpretation of this book focusing on three aspects: Dalio's personal journey, his self-management principles, and his corporate governance principles. First, let's explore the book's first section, which delves into Dalio's life experiences and character traits and how they gave rise to his set of principles. Through Dalio's autobiography in this book, we discover three key traits. Firstly, he maintains a strong sense of curiosity for the new and the unknown. When Dalio was just 12 years old, he worked as a caddy at a golf course to earn some pocket money. During that time, the stock market was booming and everyone was talking about stocks. This piqued Dalio's interest, and he would always listen to others' discussions. While his fellow caddies spent their earnings on snacks, Dalio decided to invest his money in the stock market. Throughout his high school years, he engaged in stock trading, and he received free annual reports of the Fortune 500 companies from a financial magazine, which he diligently read. By the time he graduated from high school, Dalio had accumulated over $250,000 in his stock account, a significant fortune for that time. In 1971, Dalio interned at the New York Stock Exchange, but that summer, the Federal Reserve implemented a tight monetary policy, leading to a drop in stock prices and a market crash. In this scenario, commodity trading was thriving, and brokerage firms were setting up commodity trading departments. However, there was a scarcity of talent familiar with commodity futures trading. Out of curiosity, Dalio decided to enter the world of commodities trading, becoming the first person in the industry with a Harvard MBA. Dalio's second trait is humility and an extremely open-minded approach. He believes that to gain a remarkable perspective, much like navigating a dangerous jungle, one needs curiosity to explore and a natural aggressiveness to keep moving forward. But simultaneously, it requires balancing this aggressive force with the power of humility. 8 years after founding Bridgewater, the company faced significant losses and appeared to be back to square one overnight. This setback made Dalio no longer hold the absolute belief of "I am right," but instead repeatedly ask himself, "How do I know I am right?" After thoughtful consideration, Dalio found the answer: he had to become a humble and extremely open-minded person to reduce the chances of making mistakes. To achieve this, 2 conditions were essential. 1, engaging with independent thinkers who would pressure test his reasoning, and 2, gradually formulating eternal and simple principles. Humility and an open-minded approach accompanied him on his journey, enabling Bridgewater to rise from its lowest point to great success, and it also led to the creation of this book, Principles. Dalio's third trait is that he is a hardcore realist, unwilling to add any moral judgments to economic viewpoints. He prefers to deeply investigate problems rather than getting entangled in ideology. In the book, Dalio emphasizes that most people's notions of good and bad merely reflect their particular group's preferences. Different cultures can have vastly different definitions of good and bad, and Dalio prefers not to engage in these subjective debates. He believes that there is only one standard for determining whether something is good or bad, and that is whether it aligns with the grand trends of the world's evolution. In his view, apart from evolution, everything else will ultimately dissipate, and humans and everything else are tools of evolution. The pursuit of personal evolution is the greatest driving force behind making society better. This concludes the content of the first section. Next, let's move on to the second section, where we delve into Ray Dalio's self-management principles, which he refers to as life principles, distinct from his work principles. In this section, Dalio primarily emphasizes 2 key aspects. First and foremost, embracing reality stands as the fundamental principle of self-management. For someone like Dalio, who has spent a lifetime wrestling with market risks, understanding the way reality operates and how to deal with it is of paramount importance. While humans possess rationality and can use reasoning to predict the future, in real life, subjective assumptions often diverge from the workings of the objective world. In the realm of investment, even with extensive market research and thorough analysis, predictions can still misalign with market dynamics. Many overconfident fund managers have found themselves losing everything due to their excessive self-assuredness. Successful individuals like Dalio, on the other hand, are hardcore realists. They recognize that accurately understanding reality forms the foundation for achieving their dreams, and Dalio employs 2 tricks to accomplish this. One trick is the concept of egoless. Dalio believes that from the perspective of nature, individuals are minuscule components within the universe. Recognizing this allows you to shed biases, refrain from preconceived notions of how things should unfold, and instead make judgments based on the inherent laws of things. A highly open mind helps overcome 2 obstacles in self-awareness: the elimination of subconscious defense mechanisms and the removal of blind spots in thinking. The second trick is to think in principles and learn the laws of reality. Dalio posits that natural laws exist objectively, not by human invention. He stresses the importance of emulating nature, allowing it to teach us about the laws of reality. This concept extends to the analysis of economic activities, advising investors to respect the objective laws of the market, not allowing subjective desires and emotional fluctuations to sway their judgment. With an egoless and naturalistic mindset, you can accurately grasp the objective world, understand your strengths and weaknesses, and journey towards success. Another self-management principle championed by Dalio is continuous evolution. He introduces the concept of evolution into management, contending that everyone should rigorously manage themselves to become a better version of themselves. Dalio strongly aligns with Darwin's perspective that species capable of adapting to changing environments survive throughout the course of history. He believes that truly successful individuals exhibit various flaws but understand how to adapt to their surroundings through evolution to become the best version of themselves. Personal evolution necessitates two conditions. The first condition is maintaining an extremely open mind. An open mind frees you from biases, eliminates preconceptions, and allows you to make judgments based on the inherent evolution of things. Moreover, it helps you overcome obstacles in self-awareness, including eradicating subconscious defense mechanisms and eliminating thinking blind spots. The second condition involves overcoming barriers to ego. Dalio asserts that fearing criticism, resisting critique, and worrying about others pointing out your flaws are all defensive emotional reactions that counteract the desire for evolution. He personally endured painful trials in his self-management journey but eventually achieved continuous evolution. His experiences teach us that the world is in constant flux, and adapting to this change is key to success. In 1982, Dalio faced the most painful failure of his life when the Mexican government declared a debt default, causing a massive shock to the U.S. financial industry. At that moment, based on his research into past financial markets, Dalio believed that no matter how much money the Federal Reserve printed, the market would enter a long-term bull market. However, his trading model failed, resulting in substantial losses. This not only caused immense losses to his clients, but also wiped out all of his personal capital. This loss made Dalio realize the dangers of blind overconfidence and the futility of individual wisdom in complex markets. He discovered his own flaws, continuously evolved, and ultimately led Bridgewater Associates to rise from this failure. Within the principles of evolution, Dalio further dissects any given situation into first-order consequences, second-order consequences, and third-order consequences to help individuals gain a more comprehensive perspective. He emphasizes the importance of adopting a third-order consequences viewpoint to pursue long-term goals rather than being swayed by short-term desires. Only in this manner can individuals continuously evolve and adapt to a changing environment. This concludes the second section. We have outlined Dalio's self-management principles from the perspectives of embracing reality and personal evolution. In the following third section, we will delve into Ray Dalio's principles of corporate governance. These principles encompass 16 high-level principles, each of which includes several mid-level principles, and some of these mid-level principles also contain several sub-principles. For example, the fourth high-level principle of corporate governance is seek to understand and to be understood, which includes 7 mid-level principles, with the second mid-level principle being know how to achieve understanding and hold to principles, further breaking down into 3 sub-principles. Dalio meticulously addresses each level of these principles, often with accompanying illustrations. Next, I will interpret Dalio's corporate governance principles from 3 angles: company culture, personnel selection and employment, and decision-making patterns. Firstly, we explore company culture. Dalio advocates an exceptionally authentic and transparent company culture, taking Western values of frankness and directness to the extreme. At Bridgewater Associates, you will encounter situations that might seem unbelievable. For instance, interns who have just completed their training engage in brutally honest discussions with their superiors. Furthermore, every past business meeting is recorded, and speaking in small gatherings is equivalent to addressing the entire staff. Every employee's judgments and suggestions are documented for future comparisons with the actual market conditions. These practices reflect Dalio's appreciation for a confrontational and extremely transparent culture. He understands that in a research-driven fund management company, ensuring absolute freedom of expression and unfettered flow of information is crucial to producing original results. Dalio demands that employees maintain an extremely open mind, be honest, and foster a culture of addressing matters face-to-face without talking behind each other's backs. He has designed mechanisms for error tolerance and communication to ensure that both upper and lower management can see and hear the truth, free from the influence of false information. Regarding error tolerance, Dalio's principles are unique. He requires the company's management not to use terms like right or wrong to evaluate employees, but rather to use precise or imprecise, to prevent employees from fearing making mistakes and therefore withholding their opinions. Dalio not only talks about the principle of extreme transparency, but he also puts it into practice. He had a disciple he greatly admired named Greg Jensen. In a business discussion meeting that Dalio did not attend, Jensen criticized his investment approach despite never having raised objections in person before. Dalio considered this a breach of the principle of extreme transparency, as Jensen had criticized him behind his back. Consequently, he removed Jensen from his position as co-chief investment officer. Next, let's discuss personnel selection and employment. In the corporate governance principles, this section takes up the most space. Bridgewater's personnel selection and employment mechanisms are unique and include recruitment and training phases. Applicants will find that interviewers not only ask questions about professional skills but also delve into questions about personal lives and values. These questions have no standard answers and mainly aim to assess the applicant's true character and thought processes. In addition to individual interviews, Bridgewater organizes group discussions among applicants while interviewers observe to assess their performance. Dalio places a greater emphasis on whether employees align with their values, stressing the importance of employees having distinct personalities, self-awareness, and the ability for abstract thinking and market knowledge. To find such talents, Dalio designed a complex personality assessment and skill testing system, including baseball cards, a believability matrix, and various surveys. These tools allow management to gain a clear understanding of a new employee's personality, values, and expertise. Dalio frequently reminds Bridgewater's interviewers not to attempt to find flawless individuals from resumes but rather to tolerate individuals with flaws, as he believes only individuals with flaws can succeed within the company. New employees undergo an intensive 18-month training period before joining Bridgewater, which involves rigorous mental training to adapt to the company's culture of extreme authenticity and transparency. Finally, let's discuss decision-making patterns. Dalio has observed decision-making patterns in many companies and found that they usually either have leaders making unilateral decisions or utilize a democratic negotiation process, deciding based on the majority principle. However, Dalio believes both approaches have their shortcomings. He asserts that decision-making power should neither be monopolized by the most capable individuals nor disregard differences in abilities and the credibility of opinions. Therefore, at Bridgewater, he employs the believability-weighted idea meritocracy principle. This principle emphasizes that viewpoints with the highest credibility should carry more weight. Credibility derives from individuals who have repeatedly successfully addressed related issues and individuals who can draw conclusions through logical reasoning. Everyone and every viewpoint within the company possesses a believability score recorded by the dot collector system. This system is used during meetings for voting, where individuals with higher scores have a greater influence on the company's final decisions. Dalio highly respects the believability-weighted idea meritocracy system. He emphasizes in the book that when the results of believability-weighted voting conflict with his personal judgment, he always acts in accordance with the voting results, adhering to the principle of idea meritocracy. So far, we have introduced Dalio's principles of corporate governance, including the culture of extreme authenticity and transparency, unique personnel selection and employment mechanisms, and decision-making patterns based on believability-weighted idea meritocracy. Dalio believes that basing one's actions on principles to discover the truth is the key to his success. He encourages people to draw wisdom from these principles, continue evolving, and believes that success is within reach. This concludes Dalio's corporate governance principles, the final part of this book. Well, that's the end of the book's interpretation. Congratulations on finishing another book. Thank you for your support and attention. Please subscribe to the Listen2Riches, like, and share this valuable knowledge with your friends. Let's combine wisdom with practice to achieve our financial goals and create a better future. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next episode.